guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a first impression review of the new Morphe Fluidity Foundation and Concealer. So I'm going to be doing a check-in tests, wear tests throughout the day. I'm going to try and keep it on for as long as possible. It's currently 1 PM right now. So if you're interested in seeing how my skin reacts to this foundation and what it looks like, then keep on watching. Okay, so I picked up the shade F160 and it is a matte. This is what it claims to be, a full coverage foundation. So 24-hour long wear, sweat proof, transfer resistant, water resistant, free of oils, fragrance and parabens. Great for all skin types. Now I have I would say dehydrated to combination skin. At the moment it's a little bit more dry than combination, but I usually, if I get like oily, I get it just on my nose and a little bit in my T-zone. So yeah, and that's mainly when it's really hot and if I've got a certain foundation on. But we're gonna see how this goes. So yeah, I've heard mixed reviews about it, so I thought I'd pick it up and see how it goes on my skin. And yeah, so if you want to see how it goes, then just keep on watching. Now, so I picked up the shade F160. Now it's tricky buying foundations online, as we're all aware. It's quite tricky to sometimes match. This is the little squeezy tube that it comes in. So nothing flash. Reminds me of the L'Oreal Infallible. Is it the Infallible? Yeah, the Infallible range. Yeah, it's the Infallible range. Reminds me of that sort of packaging, so I'm not too fussed. I quite like the squeezy tubes. I like pumps, but I like the squeezy tubes as well. So yep, so I've got that, and I picked up the concealer as well, and I got that in the shade C125. So we'll try that after. So what I'm going to do is I've already got my moisturiser on, so I've put my moisturiser on, but I'm going to prime my skin like I usually do, because I need to prime my skin because my skin is dry and I want to give this foundation a fair chance. So I'm going to use my 2-in-1 hangover primer by Too Faced, which is my favourite primer, one of my favourite primers to use, especially with matte foundations, because this really hydrates my skin. So we'll get into that. Oh, feels nice. Okay, so I'm going to try it on one side of my face. I'm going to use a brush, and on this side of my face I'm going to use a sponge. So, and see what the difference is like. I generally use a sponge. I prefer the application better. It's smoother. But sometimes I like a brush. So just going to see how it goes. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm just going to squeeze some out on my, shake it up. Now I've got a couple of blemishes, or breakouts I should say, just under here, under my chin. I don't know how much to use. It says full coverage, but you know, I'm a full coverage girl, so that's probably way too much. So I'm going to try the sponge on this side. First impressions is it is pretty full coverage. I did use a lot though, bear in mind. Actually, I think I would say it's medium high. I've still got a little bit of, if you can see, there's a little bit of, I don't have a lot of redness anyway, but you can still see a little bit of colour poking through in some of my freckles. So far it's not looking too bad. Okay, so next we'll go in with the brush. Now this is my Morphe sponge, by the way. This is the Morphe sponge, so this was clean when I started it. And I'm going to be using the Morphe M439 brush to buff it out. Might use a little bit less and build it up this time. Okay. I think I actually like the finish better with the brush. I think I'm going to build it up a little bit more, put a little bit more, squeeze a little bit more on my brush. Build it up around my cheeks. Buff it in. It's quite easy to blend. It doesn't feel very thick. I've heard some people say it's like thick, but I find it really actually quite light. And yeah, I like the look of it. It doesn't look great around my nose, and right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just pounce in, go over this side with the sponge just to even it all out. Oh, I've got a stray hair there. Okay, doing some kind of weird stuff on my nose. I'm not sure if you can see. It looks a bit strange. I don't know what's going on there. Might just leave it and put a little bit of concealer on it, but it looks a bit cakey on my nose. Not loving it, and in between my brows it looks a bit cakey. You can see it's still tacky, so it's not hasn't dried down. I don't mind the look of it. Like, it looks like the matches quite well. Just this nose situation is it bugging me a little bit. It's like settled into my creases. See how it's taken it off? This is very flattering. But yeah, it's not going in there. It's weird. Alright, I feel a little bit better actually. Alright. Okay. So first impressions is, yes, I like the coverage. It's quite nice actually. It's about what I'd like. I love full coverage foundations, but I like it. As I've gotten older, I prefer it to look more natural, I guess. Although when you're wearing, you know, half a tube of foundation, it's not going to look natural. Let's be honest. But you know, it still doesn't look like I've got a mask on, you know, like you can still see my skin through it. So it's not, yeah, it's not like heavy and real cakey. It's just in between my brows, but that might settle. I find that sometimes when it warms up, when your foundation warms up with your skin, it kind of melts in a bit. And you know, plus I'm going to do my makeup and all of that afterwards, and I'm going to see how my powders and everything else goes on top of it. So now, let me just have a look. Now, I don't mind the concealer under my eyes. It looks actually quite nice. It's not actually, I wouldn't say it's full coverage. Yeah. I do not like it in between my brows or on my nose. If you can see, my nose is all cakey, and in between my brows is all cakey. I don't know what's going on. I don't usually have this with my foundation, so just try it with a brush. Just really, it looks really cakey in the middle for some reason. It's just, yeah. Alright, so this is how it is all looking at the moment. So this is the sponge side. This is the brush side. Now, first impressions is I'm not loving it. I really do not like my T-zone area. It's super cakey, and yeah. So I'm going to go do the rest of my makeup, and I'll be back to let you know how everything lays on top of it. I'm back with my full face. It is about an hour and a half later. It is 3:23 p.m. So it is about an hour and a half later. But I had lunch and I got stuck on a few phone calls. But anyway, so this is the foundation at the moment. So this is how the foundation is looking. Now, as far as things blending on top, everything went pretty good. Like my bronzer, I didn't set my face. The only part I set was under my eyes, my T-zone, like where I put my concealer, and just here where my bronzer is. The rest isn't set, and it still feels a little bit tacky, but nothing major. Like, it's not, you know, it's still quite matte. I also didn't use a setting spray just for this video, just to see how this foundation wears without it, because it claims it's, you know, sweat resistant, all of that jazz. And it is currently, what is it right now? It's currently 32 degrees here, so it's quite warm. I'm going to be going outside and stuff and doing some things. I'm going to be doing some check-ins. I'm going to try and leave it on for as long as I can. So I've had it on since, I think it was 1:12. So if I try and keep it on for till about 9-10 o'clock tonight, that's a decent wear test. So I'm going to be checking in throughout this video and see how we go. But yeah, so far I'm still, I mean, it's looking a little bit better. In between my brows and on my nose, it's looking okay. So yeah, I don't mind the look of it. It actually looks quite pretty. But we shall see. So this is what the foundation looks like out in the daylight. I can't really see because I'm blind. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I will check back soon. Okay. Next check-in time is 5:24. Still looking pretty much the same. Still patchy around my nose. It's looking a little bit dewy. That's not my highlighter. It's actually dried down now to a matte finish, so it's not tacky at all. And yeah, so thoughts really still haven't changed. See you again soon. Okay, this is my second to last check-in. The time is 7:29 p.m. and I've just had dinner, so it's rubbed off. My lipstick is rubbed off, obviously. Still looking the same. My nose still looks funny. Don't look any less oily or anything. I'd say it's still looking the same. It's rubbed off a little bit on my chin, but that's probably because I've been eating. Yeah, so I will see you again in a couple of hours. Okay, I'm back for final check-in for today. The foundation has been on since 1 p.m. So it is now 9:05, and let's see how it's looking. Okay. It hasn't changed much. I think in between my brows is actually looking a lot better than when I first applied it. My nose is still a bit weird. It's a bit oily as well, which is, it's not unusual, but it is a matte foundation. But keep in mind, I didn't set the foundation either, and it was 33 degrees here today, so it was quite warm. I'm going to try and blot and see if I can touch up this foundation, see how much oil comes off. I know this is gross, but I just want to, this is a great look. So there's quite a bit of oil coming off, and not really any there or there, just my nose. My nose seemed to be the problem area today. Okay. It actually looks better once it's been blotted. I'm going to just try and put a little bit of powder over top and see if you can touch it up. I haven't done any touch up at all today whatsoever. That'd be a negative. It's gone all patchy and cakey. It's a cakey mess on my nose. So yeah, it's rubbed off on my chin. As I said an earlier check-in, I did have my dinner, so you know, as you can see, I haven't put any more lipstick on. Has rubbed off. Everywhere else looks okay. I do feel a bit dry, but yeah. Anyway, okay, so my final thoughts on the new Morphe Fluidity Foundation is, do I like it? Not really. It's not the worst foundation that I've used, but it's not the best foundation by any means. It's, as I said, around my nose it just looks like a cakey mess. That was when I applied it. As you can see, when I first applied it, it was just cakey to begin with. I'm not sure, maybe I'm going to give it another couple of goes and try different primers with it and see how it goes. I'll let you know in the comments section how I go wearing it more than once with different primers. And yeah, as I said, my skin is dehydrated to combination, but it was hot here today, so keeping that in mind. And I didn't use any setting spray or powder to set my face, except for under my eyes, and a bit on my T-zone where my concealer is, but that's it. I didn't put anywhere else. Everything's still there, like my bronzer is still on, my blush is still on, my highlight is still there. So it's been, I've had this foundation on for 8 hours, so not too bad, not too bad. It's a typical day's worth foundation, but apart from the nose, I don't like it. So you can grab this foundation on the Morphe website for 27 Australian dollars, and yeah, it is full coverage. It's got good coverage. Do I recommend it? yes and no. I'm on the fence on it at the moment. I have to try it a bit more. I don't want to say I hate it, because I don't hate it, but I did hate it on my nose. I just don't like it on my nose at all. Was not happy with it, but that could be a primer, could be the weather, could be a combination of all different things. But everywhere else, you know, I think it actually it looks quite nice, to be honest. But yeah, if you've got really dry skin, I don't think it will work for you. It's just, it is very dry. So I compare it to the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter foundation. Now that is a matte foundation, but I absolutely love that foundation. That works really well on my skin, and that is really matte, but I think this one is more matte than the Pro Filter. So if you struggled with the Fenty, I wouldn't advise the Morphe. So, but it again, totally up to you. If you can get a sample, grab a sample, by all means, and try it out. The concealer, I actually didn't mind in the end. Hasn't creased much. It's not super full coverage, but I quite like that. I use a brightening powder anyway, so I use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter powder in lavender. Sorry, I've got a dirty lid. Yeah, and so that's brightened under my eyes a little bit, but that's about it. But I quite like the concealer. So my final thoughts is, if you want to pick it up, just pick it up. If you can grab a sample before you buy it. That would be even better. If you find that if you've tried the Fenty Pro Filter foundation and you do not like it, I would highly recommend not purchasing the Morphe foundation, as it is a lot drier, and yeah, it just brings out more dryness to your skin. It's a lot more matte. Oily skin types, I think it will be pretty good on. So I'm going to give some to my friend who has an oily skin type, and I want to see her thoughts on it. And yeah, okay, so that's it for today's video of my first impression of the Morphe Fluidity foundation and concealer. Please don't forget to like this video, comment down below what you think, if you've tried it, if you're going to try it, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload. See you next time, guys. Bye.